So Linkin Park is back, and we are a little bit over a month away from their new album, From Zero, coming out, and it will be their first album with their new co-lead singer, Emily Armstrong. Now, a lot of people don't necessarily know who Emily Armstrong is, or what band she came from before joining arguably one of the biggest rock bands in the world. Well, I'm here to tell you what band she came from and if you should give them a listen or not. She comes from a band called Dead Sara, which was formed with her and her friends Sios Medley, I'm sorry if I'm saying her name wrong, and Sean Friday, who does the drums. And they are best known for one big single, which we will talk about, as even though they formed in 2002, they didn't release their debut album until 2012. And I remember this debut album in particular because I had a friend who kind of played it for me. He knew I liked, rock music and whatever. He was like, you should check it out. And their debut self-titled album hit the shelves, and I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was good, but I never really went back to them. Like, I think I'd heard maybe 2 or 3 singles from them throughout my lifetime, and was just kind of like, yeah, they're there, they're cool, whatever. I think it's just because I had their debut album shoved down my throat when I was younger. But I decided to take a look at the 3 studio albums that they currently have out and just kind of see if they're worth listening to, and if I missed out for the longest time, and if I'll be excited for new releases to come in the future. Because even though she's joining Linkin Park, Dead Sara, her band, has not officially broken up yet. It's probably on one of those hiatuses where once she gets time in between Linkin Park and Dead Sara, she will be able to do new music for her band. So on April 10th of 2012, the debut self-titled record came out, and it's got kind of like a hard rock, alt rock type feeling with a little bit of emo mixed in. Obviously, the big single off of this thing is Weatherman. I say big into the fact that it's their biggest hit to date. Like, if you talk about this band, this might be the song that pops up when people talk about them. And I get it, it's an excellent song. There's also other songs on here like Whispers and Ashes, We Are What You Say, Monumental Holiday, Test on My Patience, that Just Do It All, Lemon Scent is also a really cool and catchy song. They're just able to reel you in with a bunch of the different things they're able to do and the different genres that they're able to use, and I think that their self-titled, their debut record, has definitely held up well 12 years later. Now, the thing with debut albums is, even if those records are good, I feel like there's always room to improve because the debut album did have its flaws. So when they got to their second album, which came out on March 31st of 2015, called Pleasure to Meet You, I was glad to hear that a lot of the flaws from the first album they were able to fix in album number 2. It starts out with a track like Suicidal to LA City Slum, right into probably my favorite Dead Sara song that I've heard doing research for this, called Mona Lisa. And then they have songs like Radio 1-2, which have a lot more of like a punk feel to it, like almost like kind of like a Joan Jett song back in the day. There's also Blue Was the Beautiful You, Greaser, Feel Right at Home. I mean, they start finding themselves and creating their sound with this record in particular, and I think they really started to pique my interest, and it really made me intrigued for how the third album was going to sound, because the third album is when bands start to experiment a little bit from their first 2 records, and it took a while for them to follow this up. They did release a 6-track EP in 2018, which has the song Un-American on it, which is very, very anti-Trump, and I would definitely suggest that you check it out because it's a funny song, for one, and 2, it's just, a hard rockin' rager.
Oh yeah, I can see you overthinking, pill popping, chemical love.
But in 2021, September 17th of 2021, they finally released their 3rd studio album titled Ain't It Tragic. Now, they still kind of keep that rock feeling that we had come to know from them on the first 2 records, but as I expected, This record, there's a lot more experimenting on here than what the first two records had to offer, and you hear that from the album's first track, Starry-Eyed, which kind of gives you more of like a synth lean into it. Like, it doesn't favor heavily with guitars and drums, it's the synth that carries the song. But then they got songs like Good Time, All I Know Is You Left Me For Dead, and Hypnotic that kind of go back to that formula that we have known from Dead Sara for years. The song Heroes is a nice one, basically saying like, you know, this is why I don't idolize my heroes, because all of them are either dead or just shitty people. And arguably my favorite song from this album is Gimme Gimme. I don't know what it is, that chorus is so catchy. A lot of this album is so catchy. I would dare say that it's my favorite of the three Dead Sara records, just for the sheer fact that what they were doing and maturing a lot more with their sound and willing to go out of their comfort zone, it fit surprisingly well, and it made me go, how did I miss this when it came out? Another thing I think listening to these albums will really show you is that Emily's always had the chops vocally. She can sing melodic, she can scream, she has that raspiness to her voice that we've been hearing with the two Linkin Park singles that she's been a part of, and her singing the songs live. Like, it's not something she did just for Linkin Park. I mean, there's certain points in tracks where she's singing, it sounds beautiful, but then all of a sudden she lets out this raspy scream and you're like, whoa, I didn't see that coming, but at the same point in time, it fits the track so well, and it's almost kind of like when the song is her kind of letting out anger, that's when it comes in the most, and it comes in very forcefully, and I think she's able to show anger and frustration through her voice very well. All in all, this is definitely a band that I would recommend checking out. I know for a fact myself that I like this band now that I've actually gone and heard them. Like I said before, I knew they were around, I just didn't really pay much attention to them. Probably I should have back then, but I guess in my mind it was like, I heard the debut album and was like, yeah, it's good, but I don't know if there's really anything that would pique my interest outside of the big single Weatherman. And listening to the albums in their entirety, I realized that I missed out, and I'm kind of glad that now she's in Linkin Park, a lot of people are going to her band and listening to the songs and being like, huh, this is really good, because, I mean, it's just fun rock music. You can listen to songs that when you're pissed off, you can relate to, because she's singing about something she's pissed off about. I feel like, too, a lot of these, because of her Scientology ties, she kind of has lyrics that kind of denounce all the Scientology stuff and their beliefs and whatever, because it seems like she's not down with it. She was just kind of born into Scientology, but she's like, fuck, I don't care about this shit. This shit's stupid, and the only way she can really get herself out there without it being direct is by creating songs and being like, no, this is actually what it's about, because you know how it is when you speak out against Scientology and you're a former Scientologist or are a Scientologist, they will come and get you, and you might not be around much longer. So, I don't know, that's just a theory to me, but a lot of these also kind of dealt with how, you know, she needed to feel power herself rather than, you know, you telling me how to feel and telling people how they should be, when, you know, we are who we are, and the only people who should judge us are ourselves, and leave it at that. But that's just my thoughts on this. You can tell me in the comments below if you've heard this band before, what did you think about them, or if you've just gotten into this band because of Emily joining Linkin Park, what do you think about them now, and do you feel bad that you even missed out, and how do you think this will affect Dead Sara going forward? And it might be a while before we get new music from them in particular, but I don't think that they're going to be like splitting up or anything. I still feel like this is going to be a part of Emily's career. It's just now she's got to start with Linkin Park, and then with a break in between, get back to doing stuff with her basically first band. But that's it for me. Stay safe out there, and until then, I will catch you all in the next one.